So, all right, guys, welcome to Towerhand Happy Hour with Boone and Chad. I'm Boone. That's Chad. Today's subject, we're going to talk. That's what we're going to do. Let's talk. We're going to talk about the tower industry. We're going to talk about the general industry in itself. It is cold outside today, man.
It is cold as hell outside today.
It is brutal. If you're outside today working on a tower site, I feel for you, man. You probably ain't making much money for your company, but you got to show that progress, right?
Oh, yeah.
Got to have those daily updates in.
You ever worked in the cold, Boone?
No, dude. Brutal cold. I remember it was like neg 30 outside, real feel like temperature, like neg 30 outside. And I was like, man, I was running a crew. I was like, guys, I need one thing. I need one thing done. I need measurements for the jumpers so we can make the jumpers. And I had two guys ballsy enough to go up the tower, and they got down the tower. And remember Brody? Brody came down. His hands were swollen so bad, and like I felt horrible. And ever since then, if it's under, this is neg temperatures, real feel, I don't even do it anymore. I don't even bother. I've been outside in this stuff all the time though. You get those emergency calls where you double your price and you just go up there and get it done. But man, it's brutal.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that winter we went to Minnesota between Christmas and New Year's. They called it due to a blizzard, and I didn't have anybody on the rig this day, but the blizzard, the first of the blizzard hit, and I wanted to get I believe it was microwave parts moved out of the way, all thread saddles, and I hopped out of the truck, and I think a real feel was, I don't know, neg 30, 40, 50, whatever it was. I got out of the truck. I kind of cussed the crew for not picking up the materials that were sitting on site. I grabbed them and I walked them, I don't know, 20 feet over to the shelter. I threw them in there, and driving back that day and the next day, my hand started hurting, and I looked down at my hand and I could see the purple thread marks in my fingers. Just from grabbing the parts, that is, man, that's brutal.
It's brutal. It makes me want to be down south, but I think they're getting it down south too. There's like snow like Houston and stuff like that, and Texas and stuff like that. I've heard.
12 inches they're calling for in Chicago today, and I got crews working.
It's Chicago.
Those guys, nothing covering their ears. Hard hats on, hoodies not pulled up, jacket, and I look up those guys in the rig. They are a different kind of tough, but they also don't have the wide open field with nothing to block the wind either. There's a lot of buildings, and, shorter monopoles. So the Iowa crews, Nebraska crews, man, I feel for you guys. Be safe.
So
he's going to break on Wednesday though.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yep. The high of 7, I heard. Shorts and t-shirt weather, baby.
Oh. Yeah. Too hot to wear a hard hat, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh, I always love that, doing audits. Oh, I love that when I show up on a crew site. It's too hot to wear a hard hat. And then you like show them like the statistics of your head's cooler underneath a hard hat than the direct sun beating on your head. Yeah, that's always fun. I love that. It's a juggling game. It always is.
The steel toes in the winter was a tough one for me.
Yeah. No comment.
Yeah, no comment. Well, hey, so we decided to get this podcast going. Derek and I sat down one night, and we wanted the tower hands to have a voice in the industry. So we are planning on hopefully launching this okay. And I'm going to say launching it okay, and getting more and more guys involved. Everyone between the Tech 1, which is basically the freshman of the industry, all the way up to safety managers.
We want the executives eventually.
Well, eventually, yeah. But right now, the idea is to have the tower hands voice heard. And we were there once. Spent time in the field industry, spent a lot of time in the field. And at the end of this, we're going to provide an email address So you can contact us, have any questions, comments, you suck. Hey, I can't believe you guys didn't bring this up. We're just trying to get this launched right now and see how you guys feel.
Yeah. I love how you guys, so what we want to do with this is like what Chad said is, put a voice to you guys. There's so many things out there in this industry that you guys aren't here. You're seeing and hearing, but you have no voice in. So maybe there's something we could do to help transition that. Is something not working? Is this standard, or it's not standard, I should say? Is this training, you're not seeing this training? Is there way that training can be more effective? I know a lot of companies out there. I used to work for a major company that did a lot of training, and we did a lot of training. That was my everyday thing. And with that being said, I've seen guys that come into my training facilities, and they've been 10, 15, 20 years in the industry, and they go through the motions. The problem is a lot of this industry now is we're evolving so quickly, and people are taking these trainings and just going through the motions, and then when they get in the field, they don't follow it. What you do is what you do. We're just trying to help. Our goal for this is to have everyone have a voice. Let's talk. Let's sit here and let's talk about things that instead of ranting on Towerhand's pages and stuff like that and calling everybody dumbasses. Let's talk. Let's discuss this stuff. If we like what we hear, we'll bring you on. We'll make you an invitee to the podcast, and you guys can sit here and talk with us. It's just here to be a general idea. Let's stop the hate and we claim that we're brothers and sisters and all that stuff, but we destroy each other in the first question someone's asked. Someone asks a question, they destroy you. And every time I get those questions, I see on those Towerhand pages, they start asking questions. I private message them usually, say, hey man, I would comment, but I don't want to deal with the harping. So here's my input. Take it or leave it. That's what it is.
It's crazy. We've seen a lot. Cranes tipped over. Mm-hmm. No one wants to do that. We've had, we're
gonna bring this up quick. Just because you said cranes tip over. Remember that one site for it was a state site. Remember the guy came out. We had our crane out there,
Grundy Center.
But I wasn't gonna call names, but yeah, that guy came out. He just moved up from like bucket truck operator to crane operator, and he didn't. I was like, dude, you're not setting this up right. You're not doing this right. And I was a safety director at the time. Chad was running the crew, and the guy didn't take the ball off the strap off the front of the crane. Remember? And he snapped the strap, and then when he was trying to scope out and cable down, or he snapped that strap.
The deflection caused the cable to walk over the shiv, so he was stuck.
He snapped the strap. Remember, he had a strap around the front of the crane still. He didn't do it from the head up to the headache ball.
He didn't spin scope in. He didn't scope in. He at the end of it, he tried laying the whole boom down extended and tipped it over under the crush plate.
Yep, that was gnarly. God, that was gnarly.
He's lucky he didn't kill anybody.
Yeah. Then I remember he gets out of the crane. He's like, so you sees him taking pictures because of course I got to take pictures. You can call my boss. I was like, dude, that's for you to call. I'm going to call who I have to call. You call whoever you got to call. He was scared the whole time. God, that guy.
Well, we've seen enough accidents that everyone should have been scared. But I'll guarantee you the guys on the rig were scared. I remember who they were.
No.
Yeah.
it's like who we're hiring now, like people we're hiring now in this industry, there's so many people coming in this industry, which is a good thing because we're so short staffed, and they're putting all these objectives and not objectives, but influence people to come in this industry and putting all this stuff out there for like military and stuff like that. And it's just it gets crazy. I agree with some of the military stuff that's happening with coming in the industry, but some of it I don't. Some of the training that is provided to them is from companies transitioning shoulders. It's something that needs to be worked on a little bit more, I guess. It's in my eyes, I think.
I think
we can't hire these 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids out of high school. They don't have the work ethic like people do back in the day.
No, the industry's definitely changed. So have the employees, but it's different. And I'll tell you what, we expect a lot more out of the each and every employee than we ever did before too. Just look at the JHA. JHA it says it all. I don't know what to say more other than the fact that it's all changed. The work has changed. Obviously the radios are heading up the tower like we had always talked about it. Fiber up the tower. Now we're testing for different things. Now we're having we have safety issues where we never had before, and now we've got it. We've moved safety from one point to another, and this industry so far has been more reactive than proactive. Like Mr. Ledford said, this was written in blood.
Yep. It's funny. It's like, I talk about JHAs all the time in like training classes and stuff. And I always ask the students, what is a JHA? What is a JHA? And they're like, well, job safety or job hazard analysis. Okay. You didn't answer my question. What is a JHA? A JHA is a signed, dated, written confession. It's exactly what it is. If something goes south and you had on your JHA that you had this hazard on site, but you didn't mitigate it, or you had a mitigation plan for that hazard and you didn't implement it and someone still got hurt or killed, guess who's at fault? You guys are,
Or you implemented it and it still got somebody hurt or killed.
Yeah. People find this all the time, like, hey, the way we wanted to do this in the rigging plan especially, a lot of companies don't site walk their sites anymore. They don't understand the full concept of where they have to pick from and, what's going to work best from the field aspect. And, they go to a site, the crew gets to the site, they start trying to get stuff rigged up. Like, hey, our rigging plan says we're supposed to pick up leg A, but leg A's got, overhead power lines or traffic or something, and we have the winch out or the caption, we have to pick off leg C, and they just do that anyway instead of changing in the rigging plan, and then they get busted for it. It's common, it's small things that in this industry that people we gotta police ourselves. That's what it comes down to. You always gotta learn and police yourself and understand fixing that rigging plan or fixing that JHA when you find a hazard or you have to change something up and documenting it is easier than dealing with the OSHA and, possibly fines on yourself. OSHA can fine you individually now.
Well, the carriers, the tower owners handling a lot of that right now. We have weekly meetings with Crown Castle and ATC just because of these issues like this. I noticed a lot more guys are wearing hard hats than they used to, though. That's a good thing.
Hey,
it's a rarity. I check in on my sites. I drop in, and my drop-ins aren't because I'm trying to catch anybody so much as I don't know where I'm going to be from day to day. If I'm near a site, then I do happen to drop in. But I got to tell you, the good news is it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've caught guys without a hard hat. And I'll tell you, I talked to one of the owners over at one of our local tower companies a couple of years back, but I was wearing a hard hat on top of a bin deck, had someone on the scaffolding, and I got hit in the head with a block from about 35 feet up. And the first thing I did was went down on my hands and onto my stomach, so I didn't wander off, dazed and confused, and fall over the bin deck. The emergency room was amazed that I didn't shatter my face, because it did come up off the side of my hard hat, hit me in the face.
Really?
And I'll tell you what, had I never been wearing a hard hat, we've joked about, things hitting you and would kill you, but if I wouldn't have been wearing a hard hat, no way I would have lived through that. Not a
Yeah.
shot.
No.
So I'm
They
I'm an advocate.
Hard hat's gonna do so much, but man, when you should have had one, you wish when something happens, you wish you would have had one on probably. Yeah. That's a big thing. It's huge. I applaud ATC and Crown for, even like SBA and stuff, like those guys when they pull up on site. I know I messed up one time, and I was in a Mini X doing a site anchor inspections. I had my hard hat in the Mini, digging away. I jumped out to ask those guys, because I saw the guys pull up on site, what they were doing, who they were there with, and what their business was, trying to be proactive, and forgot my hard hat in the Mini. Like, hey, yeah, put your hard hat on. I could have got in trouble for that, but they understand what I was doing. They respected that, and no one's on the tower, of course, because we're doing anchor inspections. But same concept. Yep, I agree with that 100%.
I'll tell you another one too. Is your timesheet. I was really, really bad at my timesheets. I'd wait till I got back to the hotel to fill my timesheet out. And itemizing your timesheet is a big deal, because when do you stop wearing your hard hat? So I'll give you a scenario. The crew and I got done working for the day, cold winter day up in Wisconsin several years ago. And we all kind of gathered around the skid, and we were outside of the fall zone, but we were within the gates of the tower compound. So outside of the fall zone, we decided to all call it a day, and hard hats removed, and we sat there just talking about the day and talking about what we could possibly do tomorrow. It was kind of a post-day meeting. You remember those?
Mm-hmm.
So when we did, the tower owner, the carrier, one of the, not only a tech, but a person of even greater importance, showed up on site and wanted to know why we didn't have hard hats on. Well, it was the end of our day. We were outside of the fall zone. However, it's a large gray area. So had I had proof on my timesheet that we had called it a day, that would have been a different story. Now, did I get written up and fined? No, they believed me. But it could have been the other way around. Now these days it'll have you thrown off minimum 6 months, and even if you're not thrown off, you have to go through your biweekly meetings with your tower companies, showing the site safety observations that you have and mitigations, and it's not fun.
Oh yeah, I always love doing remediation training for companies that got kicked off sites and stuff like that.
It's a long process.
Oh dude, yeah, and have to make a whole training schedule for what they do, and pretty much have a conference call with people and why they won't do this ever again, and what we've done to change their training and their education purposes of everything to get them back on site. Oh yeah. Yep. The funniest thing I ever heard though was a company calling up my old boss and asking him, hey, we got busted on site. I need to get my guys in for some training. And he's like, okay, well, can they be here Monday morning? And he's like, yeah. And he calls back a little bit later. He's like, well, what if I just send you a check and you backdate it for like this date, and I send you a check, and I can't afford to have the guys out, out of the field. And he's like, all right, sure, $1 million ahead. $1 million a head, that's a little ridiculous. If you're gonna buy my integrity, you're gonna pay for it, you know? Oh yeah, it's funny. That's what stings. Like, you know, we're so proactive or reactive instead of proactive. It's mind-boggling sometimes. It blows my mind.
All right. So as far as what Cruz is seeing in the field, what I'm seeing in the field, what you're seeing in the field, safety wise, what would you change? I mean, if you could change anything, what would you change?
What would I change? Let's see here.
I know
I'd probably change the whole. I would change the whole. Whoever made that concept of, I know someone had it in writing sooner, like somewhere down the road, or they might still do, and I just don't know about it. But the whole rescue bag, first aid kit, fire extinguisher at the base of the tower. Why does it have to be there? So why does it have to be out in the elements? You know,
right.
And I get some points of that whole concept of it, but my theory behind it is, as long as it's easily accessible and everyone knows where it's at, let it be where it's at. I'm not going to put my first aid kit and rescue bag that costs me, you know, whatever, how many dollars out in the rain or the elements,
or in the fall zone, or in the fall zone.
Exactly, or in the fall zone, you know, as long as it's easily accessible.
It, well, you know, and it's great you bring that up, because I show up on sites and they want the fire extinguisher readily available. Well, I don't like the fire extinguisher sitting at the base of the tower leg on the climbing leg. I mean, someone drops a tool, any piece of hardware, and that thing's a bomb.
Yeah.
But
but I heard that there was writing on the wall, writing somewhere that someone had it, but I've never seen it. And I've always asked that question: where's the writing? Where is it written that it has to be at the base? And
I used to like what I used to
no
like.
No one's ever proven it to me.
Deke Brunchen, the owner or president, whatever at Finnish Tower, in Hiawatha, Iowa.
Yep.
I remember Deke's idea of where to put, I thought was the best. You know, in the passenger seat of the truck, the top hand or whoever rides in the passenger seat shouldn't be in there anyways. It's good protection. Everyone knows where it's at. I always thought that was a pretty good idea, you know, and once you move the safety bag, you know what's inside of it. So I always liked that. Got that from Deke. That's not from me. And I thought it was great.
No, what I like seeing too. I always suggested like truckers, they have those tags. Once they get their trucks loaded, they put those tags on, and they can't break them until they get to where they're offloading, like little inspection tags, I guess.
Right.
Dude, putting those tags to those loops on that safety bag, you know everything's in there then. Because I don't know how many times I've inspected a safety bag and we're missing the spreader bar, the carabiner.
Gotcha. So
hell, the ID's gone.
So broken
D5's gone.
Broken tag means bag has not been inspected.
Yep. And then you know, you break your tag every quarter, inspect it, make sure everything's good, make sure there's nothing in there. It's crazy. The rats didn't get to it or whatever. The mice didn't get to it.
I like that a lot.
Put your tag on, document it. It's solid, you know. It's funny though. You talk about, you know, safety stuff and like you know, first aid kits and whatnot. A lot of these companies I've talked to don't even know what's in their first aid kit. It's like Band-Aids, you know. And a lot of these companies are working in like rural areas too. So you just have Band-Aids and some gauze and some tape, you know, maybe some burn cream. That's about it. You know, you guys go through first aid CPR stuff. You can make your rescue bag or your first aid kits a little bit more expandable than that. You know, obviously you cannot go outside what your training is. You know, that's why I always suggest people getting the wilderness training. Wilderness training, I think, is a great training. American Red Cross has it. It's like you know, how to bandage properly. You know, more in depth on tourniquets, and you know how to. I don't like the sling thing. How to like splints and slings. I don't like that. I don't think you should do that. But it's more in depth on how to take care of wounds and like what stuff you can use to you know, treat things. I had a situation where I was in Washington State, and me and one other guy, the guy I was with, Dustin, he was really allergic to bee stings. And Washington State, a bunch of wildfires going on at the time. And I need to plug in extension cord, flip up the little flap for the GFCI for the outside cabinet, and sure shit, hornet's nest just drops right out of that thing. And I said, Dustin, truck now, because I knew exactly what he needed to be away from those bee stings. So I ran the opposite direction of him. Granted, when this all happened, he was climbing before this all happened, he was climbing the tower, and I was going out to inspect the anchors. He was getting ready to gear up and climb the tower. And I already inspected 2 of the anchors. I was going for the last one. I said, hey, go ahead, start climbing. And he got about 40 feet up in the air. And I was walking out to the last anchor point, and he said, Boone, stop, walk backwards slowly. And I started walking. I'm like, what's going on? Just don't move, walk backwards slowly. And apparently there's some like mountain lions or cougars out there in the distance, stalking some type of prey, some mule deer or whatever. Yeah.
What do you suggest?
So
bring a gun?
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny, like I'm running through this tall grass, trying to get all these hornets off me. They're stinging the hell out of me. And I'm trying to get them off me. And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh crap, there's these mountain lions or cougars out there in the field too. So I gotta worry about them too. So I did a circle around the compound, right by the truck again. He's smart enough. He rolls the window down, throws me a can of wasp spray, caught it like Odell Beckham, and start running back through the grass, spraying around me. And I get back in the truck, and I go for my first aid kit. And the first thing I thought of, he has an EpiPen. So I'm not allergic to bees at all, but I felt my body like reacting to that stuff. So I said, no, don't waste your pen on me. I have Benadryl in my first aid kit. So luckily I had Benadryl, took some Benadryl. I was fine, but you can not be allergic to bees and get, stung 10 times. And all of a sudden now you have a reaction to it. So I think our first aid kits are, not what they should be. And I see a lot of companies. I know some companies they're hardcore with their first aid kits, and that's awesome. But a majority of the companies are just these little square boxes that have some Tylenol and some whatever in them. Here you go. Put one in the truck, one in the trailer. Good to go. But if we're out in the middle of nowhere, in middle of Nebraska or small town Iowa, there's no hospital or anywhere. It could be in West Virginia. You could be in Montana. You could be in the hills and mountains in California and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. You got to be able to render aid to people,
I'll tell you one that no one else had ever brought up to me, that I was INA trained with the first two to succumb to anything like this. But we were at a cell site in Iowa here, and what had happened was the mice had drugged. It was an old FM tower. The mice had drugged the. It obviously isn't visited a whole lot. There's no techs doing the PMs there. They're only troubleshooting when they are there. But the mice, which there's always mice inside these things, had drugged the decon into the ventilation system.
Oh no!
So what happened was we were there troubleshooting. There in the vents, obviously, are blowing on the radios, which is what we're working on. Well, not only did it blow on the radios, but all the cobwebs inside there, the decon had blown all over the cobwebs. We were wearing shorts, but we got it all over our legs and our arms, the cobwebs and decon. The vent was blowing and we breathed it right in. And I'll tell you what, it was the second sick. It was the second most sick I've ever been in my life. See, I at that point I realized that this tower industry is going to try to kill me one way or the other. And it left me ill for a good 6 days. So but I never had anybody to tell me that. I never had anybody that said, hey, you might look back at it now and say, well, if you saw white powder all over the cobwebs, that should tell you. Well, it wasn't exactly like that. You couldn't really see it. Looking back, you could, but it's something else definitely to watch out for.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Down south, yeah, brown recluse and black widows and rattlesnakes and cottonmouths and whatever type of thing they can mess you up down there. I remember being up in the UP, talking about safety stuff. This is one thing we never took a realization of. We're up in the UP doing anchor digs and in the national forest up there, and the fish and game guy comes up. He's like, "So I'll let you know, there's these the elk had their babies, so the elk mamas are really irritated, and I don't know if it was the bears were waking up too, but yeah, it was we weren't prepared for that, by any means necessary. He pretty much told us, you're not prepared, so if you see anything coming towards you, just get the hell out of Dodge. Just do what you can and get out of here, because they're gonna be on you hardcore." Yeah, that was kind of an eye opener. So every time you hear like a twig snap or something like that out in the distance, like, what's that? You're freaking out, just not knowing.
Oh yeah.
But hell, we have sites too, like, there's areas where you either go to a site and you see a little sign on the thing that says, "Hey, contact this detective or this lieutenant at this precinct, and you must go there, get fingerprinted and mugshotted before you walk into the site." Easier to identify a body.
Or the site walk forms that say, "Do not attempt entry after dark."
Yeah,
I have those in Chicago right now.
Yep. And that's the funny thing. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're white or black or whatever you are. It goes for everybody. They don't want you there. Get out. If you're not from that area, get the hell out. Well, it's funny.
Those two guys that were, the overnight cuts are required. Those two guys that were doing AT&T work in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Dude
Still found the guy.
Store. Yeah, dude robs the store, whatever, and right across the street. That's how they figured it, right?
I don't think they found the guy yet.
I don't know. I'm just saying that he was blamed for it, I think.
Yeah. Well, what about the guys in Texas, the tech and the crew guys? They were supposed to contact at a emergency job somewhere in Texas. It was on the border. They're supposed to contact the rancher prior to entering the site at all times. They didn't contact him because it was a late night emergency call, and the ranch hand and the owner of the ranch came up and loaded on all of them, killed them all. Can't blame them for it though.
No, it's too bad.
It's just like, cover your butt on everything you do. It's gnarly. This industry should be the safest industry in the world, and it's getting better. It's getting better, but it's slowly but surely getting better. It's just a juggling act, of things that could go bad and could go worse.
Words of Rick Ledford. Our law's been written in blood.
Yep, everything's been written in blood. That's why people need to start taking it seriously. But that's what we're here for. We're here to see what we want to hear, what you guys are seeing on the field, and what you guys are noticing. What can be changed? What can what could your company do better? You could be anonymous to us and the whole thing, or what does your company do that's great? We don't want to hear about all the negative stuff too. We want to hear about the positive things.
Ideas are huge. It's like I was talking to Pete today, a couple days ago. I was telling Pete, I said, it's the bridge between the field and the office is usually large.
Yeah.
Some companies and they say that's what the CM is for. Well, no, it's not what the CM is for. It's somewhat. CM can be used for that, but the CM's not out there working away in this kind of weather. The CM's not on that rig. The CM's not out there checking the guy wire tensions. the bolts 60 feet up. So, yeah, it's something that needs to be discussed. It's something that needs to be brought up. And, I'll tell you, some of these problems, I can attest to it. I'm one of them that we had a crew that, just after we did our OSHA 30, OSHA 10 and OSHA 30, we had a crew go out to check on a tower, and they called me and they asked me if I knew about the tower. And I said, yes. And they said, what do you know about it? I told them what I knew about it. I told them that, please inspect the thing, inspect all guy anchors. I don't know what more I can tell you about it other than just be careful on it.
Yeah.
So they went up the tower. The crew was all sketched out. They didn't want to climb it, didn't want to rig it. Told it would be 2 days before a CM could come inspect the tower. Got a lot of flack for it because they were pretty much held down in the hotel for a couple of days until the CM arrived.
Yeah.
Turned out day 2, the crew didn't want to lose any more money. Who knows, they're even getting paid per diem, but they weren't making any money. So they decided to go give it a go. They drove out to the tower and they were lost. They were using the tower as a landmark, knowing when to turn right and left and go up the road. And finally, the crew called me again and I gave them directions. They assured me that they had driven that direction out to the tower side. I told them, well, they couldn't have because they would have drove right by it. They followed the directions right back out there, assured that they were lost and I didn't know what I was talking about. Finally got out in the field and the tower was laying on its face.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, no, these things aren't designed to fall over, but it does happen. They are man-made.
Yeah.
They do go through in Iowa. I mean, look at Iowa. These things go through hell. The steel is not brand new anymore. These are still man-made. They still need to be inspected. Some of these towers could have been built with faults. Your third party punch, they're not always going to catch everything. They don't know what these anchors look like.
If it was even third party punched.
Well, I'm sure this one wasn't. That it was built long before that. But I mean, the inspectors, they had no idea what they were looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Like, going with that too, doing these small cell stuff, all the small cell, there's so many of those anti 5G people or RF people out there. You got to start looking out for those people now. Like, it comes to safety, barricading off your things, like identifying your working area, like put your site signage out I hate when people put their site signage on the shelter, the gates of the compound. If you're going to do that, that's fine. But put another sign out at the end of the road saying, hey, you're now entering a construction site. Please check in at the trailer. Because at least that identifies that you're in a work area and they need to have the appropriate gear on to be in that area. But like some of these small cell stuff, danger tape. Don't do caution tape. People say screw caution tape and they just go over underneath it. Danger tape everything off. If you're on the shoulder of the road, get one lane of traffic blocked off for you. It's just insane, like how many of these people are walking up on your sites and arguing, screaming with you, and trying to get a rise or a conflict out of you. But if you had danger tape on that site, you can say, hey, you're now trespassing into our work area. I'm gonna call the cops. I'm asking you to leave. If they don't leave, call the cops, get them out. Simple things instead of just letting them sit there and videotape you and rant the whole time.
Yeah, we had a pipe bomb thrown on one of our sites.
Oh, fun.
Out in Ohio, yeah.
Really? Jesus.
So it's there. Hey, not to bounce around, but I've always wondered this. I have a question for you, Mr. Safety Guy. When a crew uses a capstan,
God, don't call me that.
When a crew uses a capstan and they back the truck up and get it exactly where they want it, and a couple of guys decide this is exactly where we're gonna have it, the pitch of the capstan will be good for the load. What do you suggest is done with the truck keys at that moment?
Oh,
before the guy exits the truck, what exactly should be done to that truck?
Wheels chalked, parking brake set, keys not the ignition. I think the key should be with the person who's running the capstan or in the designated area where everybody on the crew knows where those keys are. That's a no-brainer to me, you know.
Would it be considered?
Yeah.
Would that be considered somewhat of a lockout tag out? Then the operator, the capstan, should always have the keys on him.
No, I wouldn't say no. I say as long as everyone knows where the keys are at, you know, maybe you put them in the shelter, maybe they go in the top drawer of the toolbox, or maybe they go on a hook or somewhere. I don't know. That's for you guys to figure out. But you know, always say is keys not in the truck, out of the ignition, wheel is chalked, emergency brake set. That's it.
Okay,
that's as far as I go.
So I have one more. I've been in the business for a long time, and not saying I didn't know this, but I didn't know where to reference this as how. Two-way radios on a crew. Crews that have and don't have two-way radios. What's the crew's laws here? What's their requirements?
You got to have dedicated communications. You know, I can say, yeah, that's kind of a double-edged sword right there.
How about cell phones with no earpieces?
Cell phones, no earpieces. No, if you have a cell phone on, I guess you're using cell phones, have earpieces in, you know, have that. It's a double-edged sword for me. You know, I can't say yes and I can't say no, because as long as everyone understands what's going on and everyone can understand, you know, if you can use hand seals for all I care.
What's your recommendation?
As long as everyone understands what exactly is going on, that's all I care about.
What's your recommendation and why?
Man, it's always going to come down to
it's a recommendation.
Two-way radios.
Okay.
What's my recommendation? Two-way radios. You know, get it learned. You know, we got crews out there sometimes where you're jumping on each other. You know this as well as I do. You know, we've been on different sites before and we've been talking to each other. So, you know, it's craziness. But always have a dedicated communication. It's simple. And I'm not a big fan of this whole whoop thing either. The whoop, and you know, the South, they go boop whoop bang bang wide, whatever else it is. You know, I'm cool with it for like an immediate thing, like a stop. You know, if it's a clear day. But hell, if I'm 1,000 feet in the air, you're gonna hear me whoop for nothing. You know, just dedicate. Go out and get some radios, man. They're not that they're expensive, but it'll save you a lot in the long run. You know,
right.
It's your phone. Is your cell phone going to last in this cold weather right now very long on the tower? No, it's not. Your radio will though.
No, I couldn't agree more.
It's simple, you know.
I couldn't agree more. So,
but there's lots, yeah.
So yeah, up top. How about up top? Safety up top. What do we got there?
Safety up top. My biggest pet peeve right now is RF monitors.
Mine too.
Oh,
mine too. I'll tell you what. So I have a very familiar site in the Sioux City area. We're at a crew with no FM tower nearby, but there is a TV broadcast.
Yeah.
I showed up and I was very familiar with the cell site, and I told the guy, I said, "What does your RF monitor say?" He said that it's not. I'll check with the tower. I said, "No." I said, "You'll notice it down here." Long story short, is I know that the base of this tower on the ground is not. It is beyond permissible, the maximum permissible levels for him to be working on with the TV broadcast down the way.
MPs, yep.
Matter of fact, if it all came down to it, it looked like once we had the RF monitor powered up, ready to go, operating the way it should be, that it looked like the ground was actually soaking up more than the guy on the tower was.
Wow.
So it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and guys are getting sick and they don't even understand it. And you know, the thing about RF is you may not know it in 10 years, it may not be 15, but you are getting sick. It is affecting you negatively. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it's like, and here's the thing that irritates me the most is, you know, I see these guys are like, well, I'm not being negative. I'm just being a realist here. I'm just telling you what I've seen so far. I've had guys tell me straight up, I can't fit the RF monitor with me because I have my cigarettes, my Lunchable, my Red Bull, and my water, and my tools with me. Like, okay, well, then haul up in a nose bag or put your Lunchables and cigarettes and whatever else in the nose bag and get it up with you. There's no reason for it.
You're not even allowed to be on the rig without one.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, okay, like when we have two, all right, fine. Put one on the tower, hang it from where you're working, have it on, and then put one in the shelter from where the guys work in the shelter. As long as you have at least those two things done, as far as I see, I'm cool with it. Those are your two working areas where you're most likely to be exposed to RF.
Well, you can send a screenshot of the ground, knowing that the ground is okay, and send it up the tower. But when it's beyond workable levels, just being on the ground, you know that something's got to be done. You're making yourself and your crew sick, and anyone that visits the site.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. 100%.
And you won't always see it. You won't always see it. So remember the site we were up in Northeast Iowa that we got cracked on those RF lines?
Oh, yeah.
So again, there's a case right there. Did we have an RF monitor on us? I don't think we did.
No.
But if we did, that tower facing south, it would have had to have been shut down. So yeah, I mean, we've made the mistakes.
Plenty of them.
It's now we have laws. We have standards. They're governed somewhat, and we don't need people sick, at all.
Yeah.
So
this industry is not worth getting hurt or dying over. I always tell people all the time, you die in this industry, you pretty much just said if you do something unsafe in this industry that could kill you, you pretty much said that your life's worth your hourly wage. Plain and simple. So I want to go free climbing. My life's worth how many dollars an hour? Simple as that. And that really puts perspective into people's eyes because it's just not worth it. We have all this safety gear and safety practices we preach and, hopefully we listen to and we abide by, but, it all comes down to policing ourselves, policing our crews. You see a guy out there free climbing and stuff, dude, say something. You're going to save his life. Me and Chad both know there's a guy that could be living right now if something would have been said. It's craziness.
I like the rewarding employees too, like Rick had talked, like Ledford had talked about.
Yeah.
Rewarding employees for, not just punishing, but look, I don't even know how to set this stuff up. I'm just talking about it.
I don't think it should be, you don't want it. So the way the world is now, you don't want to say it's punishing or writing people up. You want to call it like, career acknowledgments or something like that. Like you want to just make it an adjustment because people don't need to be fired over things. Like, okay, you free climbing, you're fired. That's no holds bar right there. You're fired. But there's a company out there that has a really good. I'll have to reach out to them and see how they word it and frame it. But it's like a ongoing, like, so if you get these reports pretty much, and it's career based, acknowledgments of, are you being safe, or did you get dinged on this, did you get dinged on that? And I think that the way they do it is it's great. They acknowledge every way, every way, shape, or form, and they tell their crew leaders, just because you broke this guy up doesn't mean it's a write up on his permanent record. It's just we're trying to make sure that his training he's following his training. Maybe he needs more training. Maybe he needs to go through training again. We're trying to keep him safe and train properly, keep everybody else safe too as well. And that's the whole bottom line goal. And I think that's great. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. I love that how that thing boarded out and how it's formatted, I guess you should say.
All right, so I have one more thing, and I'm gonna ask you. I mean, I know, I don't know, you know, you don't know. Cold weather. Where we at in cold weather? When do we call it? When are guys expected to climb? When are they expected to stay on the ground? Who says what? When is it too cold? Too windy? The wind. How about wind?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
where we at there?
Competent guys.
Where you at there?
Competent guys. Competent guys on site. He makes that call. I always live this way. I don't care who's in the office and who tells me what. If I'm on site and they're not, and it's cold and my guys don't want to work, they're not working. I'm not gonna have guys being miserable all day, getting hurt or not being productive. Well, okay, yes, we're falling behind a day. Maybe we can do some stuff in the shelter, or maybe we can do some stuff. I have heaters in my trailers. Put a heater on. We'll build something. We'll make something. We'll do what we can in the shelter. We'll continue to progress as best we can. But man, a competent person on site, that is the last call. I don't care who you are. I'm not having some dude in the office tell me if I have to climb or not today. That ain't happening. I'm the competent guy on site. I make that call. What do you think about that?
How about wind?
Same concept, man. Wind. Competent guy. And I've had PMs before. I said, hey, man, we're blowing 35, 40 miles an hour gusts out here. Sustained winds at 20. You want me to fly this 12-foot dish up 300 feet? Yep, I need it done now. I said, okay, well, we'll do it. But you're going to give me an email saying, yes, I want it emailed. I want it emailed to us. And I want it approved, that email. And I'm gonna forward that thing out to my personal email too, because I know exactly how tricky some people are.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, you and I are on the same page there.
Yeah.
But hey, it's all about, really it's all about, there's obviously there's obviously more than just safety here. There's this industry is built around money too. Safety, money, safety. So I get that. But
and it's always evolving,
Once again, look, this podcast we're doing, again, it's brand new. We're trying to get it done right. Trying to kick it off. Good start. I hope it was a good start. We will provide an email for you guys to send an email in, ask any questions, comments, concerns, whatever it might be. But please hit us up and let us know how we can be better. If Boone needs to shave his beard.
Oh, no, ain't happening.
Whatever it might be. But hit us up, give us some ideas, suggestions, and yeah.
We want to hear from you. This is what the whole thing is about. We want to hear from you guys out in the field, what you're seeing, what you're doing, what we can possibly do to help. Me and Chad here, we have a lot of contacts, and we're trying to push things up the board. What's not being done that should be done. Where are we striving at in one area and failing out in the other? There's so many things that you guys can help us out with. And we understand that sometimes they aren't looking at you in the field, what's going on. They're looking at the bigger picture. We want to make that, that picture bigger for us, make us a voice. So let us know what you think and what you need. And, we'll put an email in the description here, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Good chatting with you, buddy.
Yeah, you chatting with you too. You guys are the hardest guys. You guys are hardest workers in the world, and your sacrifice is not gone unnoticed. So, yeah. Chad and Boone, I'm out.
Towerhands happy hour. Peace out.
Towerhand happy hour.
See ya.
Later.